And good morning and welcome to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com as Coach Szynal and I sit down and talk to the head football coach of the Wabasee Warriors, Coach Jon Reutebuch. Coach, what an exciting ball game we had last night, wrap off the regular season as we traveled to Goshen and took on the Red Hawks.
Yeah, it was an exciting game and wasn't the outcome that we wanted, that's for sure. A little bit frustrated there at the end. Felt like we got a pass interference there in the end zone.
Yes.
But, it happens. I talked to the boys of how proud I was of them. They played hard all the way through, even when we were down 11 late. And, playing through and keep chopping away and keep persevering, that's what we're looking for. And it was a fantastic game. Goshen is a team that's kind of similar situation to us as far as, they've had issues with everything, players being able to field the team that they want to field on each Friday night, and we do too. So knew it'd be a good game, and the kids didn't disappoint. They played their hearts out, and every game that's a close game, it always comes down to about 5 plays, and there's probably about more than 5 plays last night, but there's definitely a couple plays. Had it gone a different way, we'd be hoisting that trophy right now. So
I really thought all levels of your game picked themselves up a notch, which is kind of rare when you get this late in the season. But as Kaz and I watched, we were especially impressed with the play of your offensive line. We really thought the offensive line really came to play much. Their growth from last week to this week was just huge, even compared to the growth of the other kids who also did quite well. We thought the O-line was just spectacular last night.
Yeah, and that's where it's at, and when the O-line goes, then we go, and if the O-line doesn't go, then we don't go, and you're exactly right. There's 3 seniors on that offensive line, and they wanted that game bad, and you could tell all week their attitude was different, and it was very upbeat. Energy was good, happy-go-lucky, but all about business when it needed to be. And, before the game, I could tell by the looks in their eyes, they were ready to go. And so, of course, I watched the game again last night on film. And
on what?
Yeah.
I used to do that back in the day. I'll tell you.
Reel to reel.
There you go.
Right.
But, they were doing a job opening holes. And, we were able to move the football really pretty well, except for a few plays here and there. I mean, like I said, it comes down to a few plays, and had we executed better or been able to stop them, we would have been hoisting that trophy.
Coach, talk a little bit about the defense. We never knew which you have a 3-man line, and then I thought, well, where's the guys going to go? And if you guessed right, they were stopped. Cold.
You're talking about the blitz of the linebackers.
Yeah. How did you know how to call that?
Sometimes when that blitz came, and man, you were right there.
Oh,
He was in the backfield. The quarterback could have been doing the handoff to the linebacker.
Right.
It was that quick.
Yeah. We went to a 3-man front, odd front, few games ago, basically out of necessity. We don't have enough linemen to cover a 4-man even front. And when you do that, you obviously have less linemen up there, so it enables you to still come at them with a 4 or 5-man rush, but they don't know where it's coming from. And so that's part of the game plan last year. That's part of the game plan this year, was put pressure and force the issue. And our linebackers have been becoming very, very adept at disguising it.
Yes.
We knew we wanted to, at times, show it because we saw on film that they got a little shaky at times when the other team looked like they were coming. The lineman kind of jerked or flinched, and we got a couple false starts on them. And, that helped out a lot. That was something that we went into the game thinking we could do. We could make them flinch. We could put some pressure on Bechtel. The biggest fear was him running the football, but when they throw it, we wanted to get pressure on him.
How do you decide that? How do you signal in who's going to do what? Or
well, that's what it is. It signals, and you practice that all through the week that, here's the call, this is what we're doing. And, we got barrels set up, and then you practice where you're going, who's going where, and then you put into practice and when we're actually practicing against our other players. And, by Friday night, they pretty much know where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to do. So.
I was impressed that you had so many different linebackers blitzing at different points.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of times, it looks to me as we've watched high school football, like the blitz from a defense is often accomplished by the same guy or maybe the same pair of guys. You had a lot of different people coming from a lot of different places with a lot of different looks last night.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, we can send the left inside linebacker and the right outside linebacker and get a, get a 5-man pressure. I mean, if we're in an even front, 4 down linemen and 1 linebacker blitzes, that's a 5-man pressure. The key is for high school linemen, if they don't know where you're coming from, that's tough. I mean, NFL, college football, blitzes and disguising things and schemes. So let alone high school football when they got to try to figure out, there's nobody coming. But too late. He's on my quarterback, that kind of thing. So anything we can do to confuse the other team's offensive line and put pressure on them and love the aggressiveness.
Absolutely.
And there were some kids that really stood out last night on defense that haven't all year long probably, either by opportunity or just, really stepped up their game. And Cameron Zimmerman's one of those kids.
Absolutely.
He was almost regulated to offense only for most of the season, and they tested him right away. And he passed the test right away. And, they got a few plays on him, but overall he played a whale of a game. Nate Larson, he's been Mr. Steady, just an Iron Man. He's on everything, offense, defense, special teams. He never comes off the field, and, he's making tackles for loss late in the game when we need it, and you can't say enough about him. And Lucas Ringler, he's our shutdown guy and making plays and obviously exciting. I have to check the record books to see if this is a record or not, but it's 98-yard touchdown return for interception return for a touchdown. So those are our 2 experienced guys. Everybody else is a sophomore or a junior, and I think we had 5 sophomores out there at one point in time, and Derek Bontrager. He's played JV football all year and had to step up and played a whale of a game.
Yes, he did.
He grew up before our eyes, during the game. And defensive line played well. Seniors combined with some juniors. And, I can't mention everybody, but Aiden Mons, holy cow. That kid,
wow. We call
kid's
his
a player.
name a lot.
Kid's a player. And, I can go up and down the defense. There was kids making plays all night long, chipping away, and Goshen would get a play on us, but we'd get right back at them. And it's an unfortunate the game ended up the way it is, but it was a heck of a game, and that's what I said to Coach Park after the game.
Field goal at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
That obviously was your choice. Take us through your thinking on that.
Yeah, I want to hear this because Bill and I debated this a lot.
Well, very frustrated we didn't get in the end zone. After a big run, we should have been able to punch it in, and we weren't. One play, they had too many guys on the field, but they missed it. They didn't. The referees missed the kid running off who wasn't near off. And we were getting ready to try to punch it in on 4th down, and I'm like, we can't come away from this without points. Mm-hmm. We need to get points because in the second half, we're going to come back, and that's going to make a difference. If we don't get anything here, that's going to put even more pressure. And so at that point, I said, let's kick a field goal. I mean, we got a great kicker.
Yes, you do.
Caleb Clevenger is solid, has been all the way through. So, it's quite an operation for a PAT. You got to have the protection.
Yep.
You have to have good snap, good hold, and the kicker put it through. And we had our backup holder there, Mason Shoemaker, and he did a great job. And protection was good, pass was good, and put it right through.
Aiden Mons is the long snapper.
Yes. Well, he on punt. On PAT field goal, it's Chance Flannery, which is one of our offensive linemen, and he's been doing it all year. But Yeah, happy to get those 3 points on the board, and obviously it made a difference here in the second half when we came roaring back. So
I love those 3 points. I mean, Bill and I talked about that a lot at halftime. I couldn't believe you did that. I thought, man, he's going to, you lined up, and then Bill said, look, I'm not going to kick a field goal. I said, what? And then that made it, like you said, psychologically. What was it, 20-something to 11 then? Or
it was 21 to 10.
21 to 10, yeah. So, gee whiz, what a great, that had to be a great lift for you at halftime.
Yes, and that was also going through my mind. We got all the way down there and we didn't punch it in. If we don't get points here, the psychological effect of that on the kids at halftime. Whereas we kick a field goal, now we're looking at, okay, we got points there. Now when we come out in the second half, we're going to get some more points and tack that on. It's going to make a difference.
Last night, your punting unit, we just touched on that. Big change for your punting unit last night. Talk a little bit about Dekalb Clevenger not only kicking the ball, kicking, but also punting.
Yeah, that's a new one for him. Jackson Brown's out right now, and we missed him. But I told Caleb at the beginning of the week, I said, hey, actually last week, I said, hey, you need to start learning how to punt. And
you're kidding.
And he's done it before. He just never been our punter. I didn't want to do that to him with soccer and football going back and forth. It's a lot easier. I mean, he's our kickoff guy. He's our PAT field goal guy. It's a lot of times we get him once a week. Just not enough time. And now that he was done with soccer, I was like, okay, start learning how to punt. And he even said something about wanting to punt. And so he worked on it, and his brother came in this week and helped him with it. He was kicker for us and everything, and so he's been working on it, and he did a good job.
Yep.
And the part that nobody sees either is of the 5 guys up front, that protect him. 4 of them were replacements last night.
Oh my gosh!
That gives you a little bit of internal.
Well, it gives you
busyness,
butterflies because you don't know.
Yeah,
you're hoping.
Well,
but
and
they did a good job.
They did a really good job, and except for the first punt.
Well,
and that first punt, it actually wasn't the new guys. It was one of the guys who's been there all year long, and for whatever reason, he forgot to go out. And I'm turning to try to get him out there. And our long snapper gets nervous and feels like clock's running down, so he snaps it, and that hurt. That was deep in their territory, and that's how they were able to get their first score. But the kids didn't hang their heads.
No.
I just talked matter-of-factly with them. Talking to the long snapper, we'll take the delay of game, and then we'll go ahead and punt it, and then talk to the kid that wasn't out there to see why he wasn't out there, and got it rectified, and it wasn't a problem the rest of the game. But in those close games, those mean a lot.
One of the things too last night was Ringler. I mean, how Bill and I went over and over. I mean, what do you have? He had a running touchdown, the interception, and I've got a 19-yard rush, a 20-yard rush. His rushing. But what set him up was the blocks.
Yeah,
I mean, he had that
whole
hole,
line that got it done for him,
and then he's
and the
quick
backs
enough.
even too.
Oh, well, yeah,
and the receivers.
Tremendous. The receiver blocking downfield last night was just unbelievable.
Yes,
and on that return, that 93-yard interception, 98-yard interception.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well,
it was a team effort.
It is, and it's an unselfish act.
Unselfish. That is the word.
And it's team effort, and kids just recognizing, hey, I got a teammate coming, and I'm going to get a block, and again, we go back to Nate Larson and Brandon Kelly and Aiden Mons, and I have to give Hunter Tinky credit because we've been on him all year about his stock blocking, and last night he did a phenomenal job. And we always talk to the kids about, that's a difference between a big play and a touchdown is your block out there in the perimeter, and so that was a part of the game that we did a much better job of.
Yep.
And obviously the result is we had big runs and big plays. And unfortunately, Lucas should have had a punt return for a touchdown, and I would have had to bring breakfast in for the kids. But they not really sure what the call is, but I think after all the dust cleared, they called blindside hit. But again, we have the advantage of looking on film. It was face to face, and there was no blind side to it.
In the box, we were trying to figure out what that call was, and the best we could come up in the box was illegal touching. It was
You know what? It was a
crazy.
heck of a hit.
It was.
And it was a defensive lineman that was on the rush to the punt that peeled around and not just watching the play, but made that extra effort to make the block that we're talking about.
Right.
And unfortunately, and I told the kids, things like that happen. You just got to keep persevering, push through. This is when we got to pick each other up and just persevere, move on. And
who have you got with us for interviews today, Coach?
we got J.J. Perry. He's one of our freshman coaches. And then we also have Dryden Hernandez, senior captain.
Fantastic. We'll talk to those folks next here on Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. And welcome back to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com as we talk to the head football coach of the Wawasee Warriors, Coach Jon Reutebuch. Coach, who's our first guest today?
Today we have J.J. Perry, and he is one of our freshman coaches. And has it been 4 years, J.J., that you've been coaching football here?
I believe it's 4 years.
Yeah, and so J.J. does a phenomenal job. He's a youth pastor at North Webster Church of God, and does a great job with kids there, and then extends it even further up to our high school kids. And that transition from middle school to high school, which is difficult for some, and it's an eye-opener for a lot of kids because it's more time, more commitment, and all those things. And JJ's done a phenomenal job at directing our kids through, and he's had different coaches to coach with, and unfortunately we wanted Greg Moe, who is our other freshman coach, to be here, but he couldn't be here today. Some family issues and things like that, and he would be here otherwise. So JJ, welcome this morning, and
thank you.
Let's talk about your background, where you came from, what you did in high school, and then to college, and then and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. Born and raised in Michigan, and came down to Anderson, Indiana, to go to college at Anderson University, and played football in high school. But as I came down to college, I didn't think I'd be big enough to be a lineman. In college, I was only about 220 or whatever, and so just hung out and went to college. But first semester, some guy came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to play some rugby?" And so it was a fun experience because
did you know what that was before he said that to you?
I knew that I'd get to tackle people. I had no idea what the game was. But by my sophomore year, I was one of the captains, and it was fun. They enjoyed the fact that I was still a football player when it comes to hits. But yeah, no, it was great. It's interesting because we had a lot of Indiana guys that played rugby to kind of teach us. So it was a club sport, but it's a weird culture because we were a club sport, but we were playing Ball State. We were actually even playing IU. We were playing Notre Dame. Yep. And again, to be fair, we were playing their club sports or maybe their varsity B teams. But it was funny that they did not expect us to win, and sometimes we would against these teams. So we actually had an undefeated season or two. Wow. But it was a perfect mix of having a bunch of guys that didn't play sports anymore that all of a sudden came together to play some rugby. So it was a good time.
And you don't play rugby on a whim. That's something that's total body commitment. And I know this because my brother played rugby. He was a heck of a football player, and actually was going to New Mexico Military Institute to play football. He was only going to he wanted to be in the military and an officer, but he wanted to play football, and they canceled their football program when he got there. So after his 2-year stint there, he transfers to Ball State. Same kind of story as JJ. He's a big dude. He's 6'2", 220 at that time, and some guy came up to him and said, "Hey, do you want to play rugby?" And he fell in love with the sport just like JJ.
Yeah.
And
they let me score touchdowns, which are called tries in rugby, and it kind of got me that I can score a try. Okay,
you probably didn't get that much opportunity to score in high school football, did you?
I was a center and a middle linebacker, but by varsity they moved me to D line because I wasn't fast enough. So I didn't get to touch the ball, but in rugby I could. It was good times.
Good. And so I know exactly what JJ's talking about, and my brother he played for Ball State, and Ball State was pretty good at that time, and they played all the biggies. I mean, Notre Dame, they went out of state and played Ohio State and other schools, and interesting experiences and lots of stories. And I imagine, JJ, at Anderson, it was like this. There's a kind of a fraternity of rugby guys. I mean,
oh, for sure, yeah. And I'll give a shout out just in case he hears it. Tommy Wonder was Mr. Rugby of Indiana, and for whatever reason, he, it's for good reasons. It's a great school. He went to AU, and so he's this guy that has all these connections. So that's why we were able to play Purdue, and we were able to play IU and some of these schools. Now, again, Purdue was nationally ranked. We played them, so it wasn't a great game for us. I mean, it was fun, but we did not win.
Go ahead, Coach.
JJ, talk a little bit about, I want to hear your history. How would somebody from Michigan decide to go to Indiana? I mean, I know Indiana is a much better state, and I know we're going to cut that off the air. But just, and your experience down here in Syracuse.
Well, I don't know if
I should say North Webster.
Yeah.
No, Syracuse is right.
No, I don't know if I'm supposed to joke about this, but my parents are still in Michigan, and during this different season of life, I've been joking that I've been living in a free state, so it's been nice. No, I was called into ministry, and so my dad's a Church of God pastor, and so felt that call, and that was the big Church of God school is Anderson University, and so that was really what it was, is just coming down to Indiana for that, and then thankful that I got a phone call to come. I was a pastor at a church in Anderson, Indiana, Madison Park Church, and then I got a call to come on up to North Webster Church of God, and very thankful to be here. It's a great community, and I guess I'll throw this in there. Part of why I started wanting to join in with the football team was because, to be fair, rugby's great, but football's way more fun.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, it's fun to play. Like, if it comes to playing, I do enjoy playing rugby. But no, football's great. I mean, the team aspect of it, you got to have 11 guys do all the right jobs at the right times, whereas rugby's a little bit more loose in the sense, it's like soccer in the sense it's kind of a constantly playing game. There's no stoppages unless it goes out of bounds or there's a really big penalty. But no, I love football, and so football's still my sport to watch and to be
passion.
Part of. Yeah,
your passion.
Absolutely. And so so basically I came into this community in 2017 and saw, I'm a youth pastor, so I saw the teenagers and how they acted, the way they talked, and I'll be honest, I didn't like the negativity, I didn't like the ambivalence, and so I wanted to try to help, and so basically my goal is, whenever I'm coaching, is to teach them pride and integrity, and the good kind of pride, but care about things, and basically think that you can win anything. And so I've been kind of, even though I'm a pastor, I promise I get kind of on them because I want to have fun and win. And so I kind of joined in because I didn't want to just sit back and watch, and so I wanted to help out. So.
JJ, talk about your role with the Wabasee Warrior football program.
Yeah, sure. Well, I started off with helping with varsity, and that was fine, and that was good, and I was trying my best. But I'm very thankful that I've been with the freshmen for the last 3 years. I do think it's a little bit more of my wheelhouse because there's a lot of teaching I can do, and that's my style. But I've been helping with I've been defense coordinator for the freshmen, and so yeah, I've been one of the freshman coaches, and it's been great to I always joke and I try to tell Coach Reutebuch, I'll remind him I'm saying these things. I'm like, hey guys, you guys are doing a great job. We're trying to put kids in the best place for the team and for the team to win. But I also tell them, hey, your bodies are going to change. You guys are going to change. So you might be a D lineman right now, but you might be a linebacker next year. And so part of what I think is my job is to develop them, give them the encouragement, let them know that there are things that they can grow into and they can get better.
And the biggest thing is that they want to play again the next year, and he does a really good job of that. Kids having a good experience their freshman year, because for your freshman year is the last time you play as a class. Then after that, you're mixed in with kids of other grades, and you're either, some kids sometimes move up to varsity, some kids are in JV, and it goes that way. And so that freshman year is a special year for a lot of kids, in that transition from middle school to high school, and it's the last time you play together as a class. And one of the biggest jobs of Every level, Pee-wee, middle school, and freshman, and even JV all the way through, is to keep them wanting to come back and play.
You talked about trying to turn the corner on the negativity. I have found, now that I'm in the classroom, I have found that's a real problem. It's a pervasive problem. What is your tool? What is your take? How do you approach that? How do you go at that? Because it's pervasive. You can't just say, well, you could move more like this kid and move more toward that type of goal, because this negative, it's almost become a hook they hang their ego on sometimes.
Yeah. I think my overall goal is honesty. So I just tell them how it's going and how I feel. And
all right.
And so there's no question I'm very proud of this, that the last couple of years, and I've had some students that have been annoyed, or even some parents, but that you're never going to question where you sit with me and where you sit with what you need to work on. And so
a no smoke guy.
Yeah. And so I will tell them, I'll say, hey, if you need to know what you need to get better at, I'll tell you.
Coach, talk a little bit about your family.
Sure. Yeah, I've got 3 kids and a wife, obviously, and
that also has to do with varsity coach as well as freshman coach. He this is a thing that JJ has made it work, and we want him on the staff. We need him on the staff, and he's found a way and to balance wife, kids, and job, and this is kind of that extra thing. And so appreciate that, and people need to realize that the guys that get into coaching and put in the time and the effort, they're juggling a lot of different things, and
they are.
Just want to make sure JJ knows that we appreciate his efforts and the great things he's doing with the community, not only as a pastor but also as a football coach.
Absolutely. I think it's a great way to be in the community. My wife's name's Jenny. She's the JAG specialist here at Wawasee High School.
What is JAG?
Junior Achievement.
She's in the business department.
She's with career development.
Career development.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So helping with kids find interviews, internships.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just laughing because I always mess that up, whatever it's JAG is. But yep.
JAG is a whole lot
You'll
easier.
probably still stay married. That's okay. She'll forgive you.
Hey, you did a good job, though.
Yeah,
There's several guys that have come to this microphone and forgot to mention the wife. And
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
way to go there.
Yep, and we've got one daughter, Cora, and Cora and Gabriel are now both at North Webster Elementary, and so we're thankful for that. 3rd grade and kindergarten, and then like I said, we do love the North Webster Elementary. They're great, and then we have Anna, and she's in daycare. So,
JJ, what would you say? And this is kind of could be a tough question or could be a really easy question. What's the most rewarding thing you get out of coaching football?
I think it's the being able to tell these guys that they're doing a good job. It's fun to see some of these guys who they'll, in fact, actually, again, on the freshman level, we have a lot of guys that have never played football, and then they get an interception in a high school game, or they get a sack, or they get a touchdown or whatever. So I do enjoy helping guys, because I say it all the time. And going back to rugby, as I was the captain, you have to recruit guys. And so really telling guys, hey, you can play. Like, it doesn't matter how big you are, doesn't matter, what you look like, and then it's proven when they do it, when they take the step and they put themselves out there. And so it's been great to see how guys can step up to the plate and do it. And so I enjoy specifically, because even I want to say, and I hope I'm not saying it wrong, I'm pretty sure Bontrager, he's sophomore, and last year was his first year. I think.
I think he dabbled in it.
He
never really committed, and then so this senior group.
Yeah.
You didn't? Did you coach them when they were freshmen?
I think I would have been on the varsity.
Okay.
With them. Yeah.
So next year's senior group, the juniors, would have been your first group.
Yes.
And that'll be a whole nother thing, because you will have seen them from their freshman year, and then now they're the seniors on the varsity field, and that's going to be a unique experience for you. You've even done some recruiting in your pastor position, haven't you? In your youth,
sure.
Youth,
I've got a couple guys in our youth group that are playing football, which is good, and and I make sure to tell them that, hey, I'm a youth pastor here, I'm a football coach there, and so it's I think it's pretty it's not been too bad to kind of have that separation. So.
Yeah, and it helps. It helps with your deeper relationships with kids, and I know it does. We won't mention that JJ is a Detroit Lions fan. He and Coach O have that in common. They get to commiserate in their misery.
I was going to say, that's a lot like being
Monday.
what a Northwestern fan. Yeah. No, I'm there.
Got to pray for me.
JJ Perry of the Wabasee Warriors, freshman football coach and youth pastor at the Northwestern Church of God. JJ, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Back with more Coach's Corner here in just a moment on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. And welcome back to Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. Talking to the head football coach of the Wabasee Warriors, Coach Jon Reutebuch. Coach, why don't you introduce our next guest?
Yes, this morning we have Dryden Hernandez, senior captain, 3-year starter on the offensive line. He is the quarterback of the offensive line. He tells everybody what they're supposed to be doing and identifying threats, and does a fantastic job with that. And then Dryden also plays defensive line for us and does a great job at that. Played a whale of a game last night on both sides of the ball. As I mentioned earlier, I watched the whole game again and analyzed some things, and saw Dryden pinning his guy to the ground repeatedly. He was nice about it. He let them back up, but he's an excellent football player, and he does a great job, and he's a leader, and he's that guy that always comes up, hey, Coach, can I punt today? Hey, Coach, can I be the quarterback? Hey, Coach. So he keeps it fun, keeps it alive, and we appreciate him, and good to have him here.
Very good. Dryden, talk a little bit about your role and coming in as the center on this group.
Oh, well, yeah, I do play center for the offensive line. I feel like my role is really just make sure everyone else knows what they're doing, because I kind of got myself on lockdown. But if I can help everyone else, then that's the goal, because we're just one unit. So that's really my role for offensive line.
We were very impressed with the offensive line last night at Goshen. We thought you guys really had it going on. Did you think that you're, just particularly last night, were you pleased with the increase in the level of your play as a group?
Oh, yeah, it was actually really impressive. I think the big thing was that confidence was there. We had a lot of confidence going into the game. We have 3 seniors on the line, which is awesome when you're at this level. But it was really just the confidence that really helped us out.
So you really believed last night?
Yeah.
Very good.
And you tell when they came off the ball, that they were on a mission. And all week we got this, Coach. We're ready to go, and those kind of things. Dryden, talk about your sophomore year when you're thrown in as center to your senior year, and what the difference is like from that year to now.
Well, sophomore year was a little unexpected. It was during the summer. The starting center hurt his ankle, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you got to step up. So they were on me hard. And we got into it a couple of times, which is going to happen, obviously. But I think that was really important for how I play now. I think if it wasn't for that year and wasn't for the coaching that I got, I wouldn't be at the position and I have the confidence I do now. But from there to senior year, I can see a lot of improvement. I just feel like I know the game a lot more. I feel like I know how to lead more. It's just it's been good.
The exchange is the snap of the ball. The exchange from you to the quarterback is perhaps one of the most difficult things in football, and you have to do it every single play of the game. Talk about how you learn to make. First of all, tell the layperson how that exchange works, and then talk about how you do it.
Okay, we'll give a little breakdown.
There you go.
Snap the
That'll be
ball
great.
between our legs. So I go down, grab the ball, I read the defense,
and you grab the ball on the
talk
end
about
of
your
the ball,
grip,
right?
Yes, yep.
Well, I used to, sophomore year, I used to have a dead snap where I'd grab the top of it, and so it'd be more light because our quarterback last year didn't like the ball coming at him fast.
I see.
So I just kind of throw it back there. But I feel like with time, I've changed it over because I became, like I said, more confident in myself.
Yeah.
So I just have confidence that it's going to get there every time. And when I do that, it gives me more momentum when I push it back. So Yeah, it helps a lot.
And another difficult thing is, especially if it's not a pass play, it's a run play, you got to go double team. You got to go get somebody after that snap. And defensive players are trained to go on the snap of the football. So, you're snapping and moving at the same time, which could be a problem for centers.
Yeah, it's some games. If we have a really fast guy, I think last year against Plymouth, there was a pretty fast kid that we had to line up against. And it's you just have to adjust to those things. It's like a weekly thing. If you have a big guy, you have to read that right. If it's a small, fast guy, you got to read that right. But then, when you use your size against them, and it's a smaller guy, then you can just pummel them.
Now, when you watch film and we go scouting report, and then we have film on teams. Do you take a look at the other team's nose or D tackle to see what this guy's weaknesses are, and does he look like he's fast, or is he a big dude? I got to handle that, and that totally changes how you approach the week.
Oh yeah, it's just one of my favorite things to do is just studying the game, because actually understanding everything. So watching film, I've picked up on their tendencies, look at their hands, are they gonna go left, are they gonna go right, and being able to read that is really huge, especially at this level. So I think it's going to really help me.
Now, you have passed this on to your younger offensive linemen, haven't you?
I have.
Good.
We got to make sure we get them ready for when I'm gone.
That's right. And, Dryden has taken on the additional role of being a captain and senior leader this year and done a phenomenal job. Was your group the winner of the summer accountability?
My group was the winner of the summer accountability
Talk about
group.
that a little bit, because I think this is outstanding.
So, in the beginning of the year, we were doing our draft for our teams, and I got the last pick, which I wasn't complaining too much about.
Oh, my.
But
he was not happy. He thought he got ripped off. He was not happy with his team. And go ahead.
Well, they told me I'd get 2 picks each round because I was last. Didn't get that. Still a little salty about it. But the point is, I just drafted all the kids that I thought were going to show up and be, accountable, because it's accountability group.
Right.
And so, a lot of people are going for the biggest guys, the strongest guys, because they want to win an Olympiad. But, I've got to think down the long term.
I got to play the long game.
Yeah, and long game it worked for us, and we pulled it out, and we won the summer accountability group.
And then talk about the rewards of the accountability group.
Oh, and then Thursday, it was the Thursday before the game, we got a steak dinner, everyone in the group. Delicious steaks by the Sleepy Owl. Thank you guys for that.
And what did the other groups have to eat that day? Do you remember?
I think it was pizza, right?
Pizza.
Yeah, they had pizza. We
from
had
Honey.
a nice
From
steak,
Pizza Hut.
baked potato.
Nothing against pizza, but if you're weighing the steak and the pizza, So they had to watch these guys eat their nice steak and baked potato and everything.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. So
talk about what summer accountability group is.
Good.
How did you win that? What is that about?
So basically, we have our group of kids that we drafted, and then we have them, and we're basically just to make sure that they come to practice, make sure they're doing the right things, make sure they're not slacking off.
So it's what it sounds like. It's a responsibility.
Keep them accountable.
Getting rides, setting up
rides
rides.
is huge.
I see. Okay.
Making sure. So we make a little group chat, so we can text each other, make sure everyone's gonna be there. If they don't have a ride, one of us gonna have to make the long haul to go get them, which really isn't that long, 5 minutes.
But you've done that many a times, and there's many times that you might as well be a bus driver. You probably should get that license because you had so many kids in your vehicle. It's a chance for seniors to be leaders before the season even starts, and to teach those young kids, this is what's expected. This is how we do it. This is where we go. This is what the expectations are. And it's everything from attendance to workouts to, he mentioned the Olympiad, selling of Warrior cards, anything, even community service gets you points. And so anything that we can do to make kids accountable, help these guys be leaders their senior year, and, bring the team together. A lot of times what used to happen in the past is you'd have your seniors over here and your juniors over here and your sophomores here. This gets them mixed together. And then we also, and some guys don't like this, but we also had the accountability groups go in the same bay of lockers. So they're
I see.
together, and they're not separated by class, because that sometimes can divide a team. And so I feel like we've had a much closer team last year and this year doing that. And you could tell. I mean, you can tell the camaraderie in practice and the camaraderie when we go eat Thursday meals and things like that, and that comes from leadership, and that comes from the examples that guys like Dryden set.
Dryden, what are your goals for next year? You're a senior. You don't get to come back.
Ooh.
Not unless
he has a fifth
something
year.
Drastically goes bad.
He has a fifth year.
There you go.
Fifth year eligibility, maybe. Oh, man. That's a hard decision to make coming out of high school, deciding whether or not you want to go play football at the next level, deciding whether or not you just want to hang it up, be done with it, or just continue working.
Well,
or
the
go to
commitment at
school
the next level is just that much larger, right?
is huge. Going to a couple of these colleges, it's like.
So you've been looking
definitely
around, right?
I have been looking around.
Where you been looking? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
sure. But like, they're not like any offers. It's just been visits.
Yeah.
To a couple schools. There's one in Ohio, Findlay. UND.
Greyhound.
Got an offer from Carthage College. That's in Wisconsin.
Okay.
That's
Davenport.
Davenport. Yep. I went to visited there 2 weeks ago.
Something like that.
Out in Iowa?
It's in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
It's like
All right.
15 minutes
Yeah.
outside Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place.
Okay.
Those things will start coming in after the season's over. I will get inundated with college coaches, and the first thing they're going to ask me is, what kind of student is he? You got to make sure he can get in.
Right.
And to handle the college load. And the second thing they're going to ask is, what kind of kid is he? Is he coachable? Is he accountable? And with Dryden, it's going to be easy. You want this kid. You want him on your team. And so hopefully, if Dryden decides to go that way, he will find the perfect fit. And that's one of the toughest things, is to find the perfect fit. What's best for you? Sometimes kids want to go big time, and they think about, I'm going D1 and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fantastic football at the next levels, and all you got to do is look in the NFL and see what college did he say he came from, and they're big time. And so that's a big thing, and I know Dryden can go on to the next level if he chooses to.
Well, he could go into some sort of broadcasting career. I mean, this kid did call some sports for us, Bill. Some basketball and football. I'm sorry, baseball. But he also has this other talent. He has this stand-up comedian talent.
Oh, wow.
And that's out there, isn't it?
It is. It's out there.
Can you get a scholarship for
It's
that?
on YouTube, our YouTube channel.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, youtube.com/CPG-TV. Give us something.
I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen that routine, you need to see it.
So basically, it was homecoming week, and we're just going to be involved. It's senior year. You want to do whatever you can.
Right.
Let's do it. So I was like, you know what? I've never done the talent show. So my friend, I actually didn't sign up for this at all. She did. So Friday.
Well, you got to give her a shout out.
Oh, Alyssa Gill. She told me, she was like, we're going to do this. Because originally we were just going to do like a skit.
Right.
It was supposed to be funny. But then I was like, this isn't funny at all. So I was like, why don't we just try mess around, not funny stand-up, like a comedy act.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we did that, which you can see at youtube.com/CPG-TV.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun.
We got to work on his legal ID. That wasn't great. But go on.
I'm a little rusty. That's my bad, Bill. But so she signed me up, and I got an email from Miss Bonner saying, you need to come down here for Warrior Time. You're going to be auditioning. And I was like, what? 'Cause I didn't think we were serious about this.
Oh, yeah, we're serious.
And then Alyssa and me went down there, and I was like, how are we going to audition for this? Like, it's just straight coming from our head. Like, all of this was like improv. And so we were like, we're going to do a comedy act. Can we just show you that day? She was like, yeah, I trust you guys, whatever. So we did that, and apparently it was a hit. We really didn't think it was going to be funny.
It turned out really well. And, Alyssa, I had Alyssa in middle school, and she was kind of that quiet girl. And to see her get up on stage and banter back, I could see Dryden doing it, because that's totally in his wheelhouse. But he and Alyssa going back and forth, it is truly funny and hilarious. And again, leadership, student body leadership, getting involved in homecoming and still having focus on the game, because he played a great game that night. Homecoming king and comedian.
Got it all.
Yeah.
He's the full package.
He wears all the hats.
All in one.
For the full ride anywhere, isn't it?
Yes,
I
it
would
should
think
be.
so.
That's why I would say to any college, you want this kid.
Dryden, thank you so much for coming in and being with us today. Dryden Hernandez, Wabasee High School center, starting center, and Mr. Everything here at Wabasee High
I guess
School.
you could say that.
We'll be back with more Coach's Corner here in just a moment on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. And welcome back to the Coach's Corner on 93.7 FM The Mix and 937themix.com. Talking to the head football coach of the Wabasee Warriors, Coach Jon Reutebuch. Coach, regular season is over. We have the honor of hosting the front round of the IHSAA Sectional, and we will meet a team we have seen historically many, many times, the Dekalb Barons. We don't play them anymore in the regular season, but we used to see them quite a bit.
Yeah, we over the years, we'd see them in the playoffs, or there was a 2-year stint, I think, that we actually had them on the schedule in our pre-conference schedule. The boys from Auburn, DeKalb, and usually a hard-nosed football team, tough kids. They are a spread offense, and they have a pretty good quarterback and some good receivers. They're 2 platooned totally.
Ooh.
So they're different 11 on offense, different 11 on defense, and they're a school about our size. Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger, but just about our size. On defense, they have a even front, four down linemen, and they've had their struggles this year. They're 1-8 right now, and so are we. And so we're similar teams in that. They played Leo last night, and the game was actually very close.
Leo's a pretty good football team.
Leo is a very good football team.
Yeah.
Leo is probably the favorite to win our sectional on paper because they're so good.
Yeah.
And they only won 14-0. Now, I know from social media and pictures of fields all over the state, unless you played on turf, you played in a mud bog last night, and I'm sure that had some kinds of effects, and we'll see on film what exactly went on. But we are happy to be hosting first round of sectional. Like to have it at home and on our home turf, so to speak.
Right.
And if you go to DeKalb, they have grass, and I know from years past when we've gone over there and you have nights like last night, it's a mud bog.
Yeah.
And so we are happy with the turf that is more conducive to what we like to do. And so we're looking forward to that. The kids played really well last night. It really did come down to the last play of the game. We made the decision to go for it. And I put that to the kids. You want to
Really?
Yes. We called timeout. And we had a play called, and they started going back out there, and had Chris Cotton was upstairs, and he threw out, you don't want to go for the field goal, and started thinking back and forth. And I called another timeout, and we talked about it, and I finally made the decision. I put it to the kids.
Wow!
I said, "What do you guys want to do? You want to go out and win it right now, or we could kick a field goal and play for overtime and try to win it there?" And right away, resounding, let's go for the win. And so that's what we decided to do. We put it on their backs, and honestly, we ran the play just like we wanted to, and collision in the end zone. And
the officiating was erratic somewhat last night. I think
it was really good at times, and really bad in some key situations.
It was very strange. We had calls that we haven't seen in years and years.
Oh,
last
yeah.
night.
Yeah. But the way the kids played last night and their perseverance, and they've been used to doing this all season.
Yeah, but you saw so much growth.
Oh, yeah.
The last game of the year, and you saw that kind of growth. That doesn't happen
But,
usually.
Dryden hit on it perfectly when he talked about confidence. Confidence is a huge thing with our kids, with our athletes. They had the same kind of confidence in the Plymouth game. If we can get them to a point where they're playing with that confidence every single game, that's when you see the turnaround. That's when you see Wawasee football competing in every game and being a factor every week. And that's where we're trying to get these kids. And we've had a year unlike any other with all the multiple chaos. We go into each week, we're missing 10 dudes. And even this week, starting linebackers out. Our backup quarterback, who's also our holder, and our punter, he's out. I mentioned before, we replaced 4 guys on our punt protection team. I mean, it is a challenge. And I told one of our assistant coaches last night that a lot of people don't know what we've had to navigate this year. And to put a team out there, not only to compete, but we probably should have won that game last night. And so, a testament to the coaching staff and the job that they've done to keep the kids together. A testament to our captains, our seniors, just keep plugging away. And that's life lessons. Adversity hits, you just keep moving on. You keep playing. You keep working hard. And you know what? I like the way we're playing right now. We bring that to DeKalb. I'm confident we're going to win that football game.
I've got to believe that this late in October, with the weather somewhat iffy on a night-by-night basis, that you are just thrilled with the level of physicality you saw last night, and with the growth. It was great that Ringler had the 98-yard interception. Those guys that the layman sees and talks about, your quarterbacks, your wideouts, those type of people. But the growth you saw from those 5 guys on the O-line, and the growth you saw from those linebackers coming with the blitz last night, you got to feel pretty good about going in.
A lot of those guys are young guys.
Yep. A lot of sophomores in that
so
group.
This is invaluable experience, playing in a tight game, coming down to last play. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of games this year that it didn't come down to that. We were not competitive. We did not have that perseverance. And so every opportunity you have to do that helps those kids at, the next level, the next year, say, hey, we got this. We can do this. And if we can do it against those guys, then we can do it against these guys. And look how they played against them. They're smart. They are on social media. They know what the scores of the games were and who played well and all those things. So, I always try to look beyond the highlight guy because that's going to get said. That's going to be, everybody jumps on them and that's said in the paper who scored and all those things. But you got to talk about your line because nothing works without them, offense and defense. And you got to mention those guys. And then the side things, the things we were talking about earlier, the downfield blocking, the stock blocking by receivers and running backs.
Bontrager throwing a sophomore who's not been playing varsity football out there at the wideout spot, throwing downfield blocks, and also the Tinky kid.
Yes.
So throwing fantastic downfield blocks. We didn't see that early in the year. We just did not.
Absolutely. And so proud of those kids. And that's the thing. You got your team playing good football at the end of the season. They haven't given up.
No. Coach, talk a little bit about specifically what you're going to do this week again. That always interests me as having been in, not your spot, but having coached. And the head coach will come back and say, okay, I want you to work on this and this and this. So what are you going to do to get ready for DeKalb?
Well, you got to put your time in, film study.
Yes.
Seeing what they're doing, what we can take advantage of, what they want to do, and how we're going to try to take that away from them. I mean, that's job number 1. Job number 2 is get the kids their scouting report. This is what we want to do. This is how you got to go about it. Get all that in. That's Mental Monday. And then, Tuesday and Wednesday, you rehearse all that stuff and you work on the mindset too of, this is something that we haven't done in a while. It's been a while since we won a first-round sectional game. And so here's something else we can accomplish. The season hasn't gone the way we all would like it to go, but here's something to motivate you. This is something we haven't done in a while. And so not only getting a win, which always feels good, but win a first-round sectional game, which we haven't done in a while. And that's taken the next step as well. And so we were pleased with our draw that we got a home game. And I know from the kids' standpoint, knowing that we're playing a school that has gone through kind of a similar season to us, helps their confidence, and we need to just play like we did last night. And like I said, I'm confident we are going to be good.
So coming off of last night, where you saw so much growth as a coaching staff, now, do you, because we're in the tournament, do you take the opportunity to focus on that growth and try and drive what you saw even further, or because it's tournament time, is this fine-tuning time? Is that a little of this, a little of that, a little of this?
It's a little bit of both.
Is it?
It's a little bit of both. It's tournament time, and you want to crank it up a little bit because there is no tomorrow after this.
That's right.
And so I know the seniors will play hard, and they've been playing hard all year, and they've been giving us everything they got all year, and so proud of those guys. Stuck through everything that's going on with this team, and then the young guys. You mentioned Bontre, the sophomores. They got 2 more years of this, but they're just so hungry and passionate to play, and then the juniors, they're getting set up for their senior year, and so all that plays into it. The mentality is bigger than anything else. X's and O's, I've come to find over the years, is probably about 10%, 90%. It's what's in your head and what's in your heart. And so that's where we're at. And we're going to fine-tune some things, and we're going to crank it up a little bit. That, really the biggest thing we're going to push is we play like that. There's nobody we can't play against. We can play with anybody playing like that. And we feel like that we have some dudes that can make some plays, and we have some kids up in their game here at the right time. I go back to Lou Holtz and Bobby Knight and some of those coaches. You want to be peaking at tournament time.
Yes.
And I feel like we're playing our best football right now. And so hopefully we carry that into DeKalb game. And, we have an extra added obstacle, I guess you would call it, with fall break. Kids won't be in school on Friday, so the routine is a little bit out of whack there. And we'll navigate that. This team, unfortunately, is adept at adjusting to things that on the fly, and so I know we'll handle that just fine. And we'll come out and we'll play hard.
Coach, I was just looking too. You did a great job with the heart of this team. I mean, those kids that you talk to them, and considering the win-loss record in the season, that doesn't seem to affect them. Of the ones I've talked to, in the drugstore and in the supermarket. Not at all.
Yeah.
They are still hugely enthusiastic about playing.
The kids we have on the team right now, I'll go to war with them anytime.
Yes.
They have stuck it out through thick and thin. They have persevered. There's some people that, we're having a bad season. I don't want to be part of it anymore.
Yeah, that happens.
And unfortunately, in our society today that, people quitting their jobs and things like that, it's unfortunate. But, there's so many life lessons that can be learned through football and pushing through adversity. Adversity doesn't make your character, it reveals it. And so those are the lessons, those are the things that we try to push, and that keep fighting on, keep pushing through. Good things are going to happen somewhere down the road. And, in your life, you're going to have adversity. What do? Do you run away from it, or do you face it and take it on? And so those are the lessons, above the X's and O's and the technique and the fundamentals, which are important, absolutely. But again, it's more about the mentality. It's more about the heart and wanting to be there and wanting to do everything for the team, not you, but for the team to be successful. And that's why football is the greatest game there is.
And the Wabasee Warriors going into sectional play next Friday night, 1 week from yesterday, at home, taking on the Dekalb Barons. Now, the proper place to see that game is, of course, at Warrior Field. We want you in the seats at Warrior Field on Friday night. You've got to be at the game. Now, if it's not possible, if you just can't, maybe you're listening to us online and you're out of state or whatever. If you cannot be at the game, be by the radio. Coach Kaz and I will have the call for you right here at 93.7 FM and 937themix.com. If you want to watch the game on the computer, it's a little different this coming week. First of all, you're going to have to go to a different site. It is ihsaatv.org. Second of all, you're going to have to pay for it. The IHSAA collects a fee when you watch the game online. Now, a part of that fee comes back to the Wabasee Television, the mass media department here at Wabasee High School. But part of that fee also then goes to the administration of the tournament for the IHSAA. While watching online or listening on the radio is great, this is the last game of the year, unless we win. And it's a lot easier to win if you're in the stands. We need you in the stands Friday night for Wabasee Warrior football as they take on Dekalb in the opening round of the IHSAA sectional. Coach Reutebuch, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
We'll have that game Friday night right here on WRWTLP Syracuse.